Hi, my name is Pike Anderson and welcome to this video about how to install Version Manager for Microsoft Dynamics Nav. If you don't know what Version Manager is, please watch the movie Introduction to Version Manager before watching this. First, a few prerequisites. Version Manager will run on any version of Dynamics Nav 2013 R2 or newer, any version of SQL Server 2008 R2 or newer, any version of Windows Server 2008 R2 or newer. The user running the Dynamics Nav service must be a local administrator on the machine running the Nav server and setup admin on the SQL Server. If the full functionality is implemented, a compare program must be installed on all clients that need to access the objects. Dynamics Nav in a development environment must be installed too, and the user must have access to the development environment. Also, the user running the Nav service with Version Manager must be a domain user, and all servers containing the databases must be on the same domain, or it must be a local user created with the same credentials on each server. It's not possible to mix domain and local users. Version Manager can be installed on both the starter pack and the extended pack. Combined with the purchased version of Version Manager, the functionality will increase if the application builder, the solution developer, or even a Dynamics Nav Partners Developer's License is installed too. This chart shows the combined functionality of the Version Manager edition combined with the level of access in the Microsoft Dynamics license file. Version Manager can be installed in different configurations. This is an example of Version Manager being installed in each database on the server. Another example is Version Manager being installed in one separate database, monitoring a number of different databases on the same server. Lastly, we have the most complex setup. Version Manager is being installed on one database on a separate server, monitoring a number of different databases on different servers. This is the most complex because it demands that the user ID running the Version Manager has access to all the servers and all the databases that it must monitor. There are two users involved in installing Version Manager: the user making the actual implementation and the user running the Dynamics Nav server instance. When installing a Dynamics Nav from the installation media, a SQL Server Express version can be installed too. In that process, the user making the actual implementation is automatically given the privileges as sysadmin. In the installation process, it's also defined which user is running the Dynamics Nav server instance. If no user is chosen, the user entity authority network service is selected to run the Dynamics Nav server instance. Regardless if a domain user, a local user, or network service is used, the user must be given these privileges in the SQL Server. Due to the length of the Dynamics Nav system temporary path, it's necessary to give the user running the Dynamics Nav server instance full control over the ctemp folder on the machine where the Nav service is running. This can be achieved by right-clicking the folder in the Explorer and choosing the Security tab. In this case, full control has been granted to the network service user. If the full functionality is being used, including the comparing of objects from different versions or databases, it's necessary to install a compare tool on the client machine of all the users using Version Manager. Version Manager can operate with most compare programs on the market, and here are three examples: the Beyond Compare, the WinMerge, and the Ultra Compare, but others are also possible to use. When Version Manager has been added to the Dynamics Nav license and all the other prerequisites are met, it's necessary to download the latest version of the objects. The supported versions can be downloaded from here. When the objects have been downloaded, open the development environment and import the objects. Use the replace all if a previous version of Version Manager has been installed. Version Manager can be installed in 4 different editions: Freeware, the Object Backup, the Customer Edition, and the Partner Edition. The Version Manager database can be installed either in one of the monitored databases, or it can reside in a separate database. This demonstration will show the installation of the Partner Edition in a separate database on the same SQL server as the monitored databases. After the objects have been installed, it's time to change the IT Manager profile to utilize the Version Manager Administrator Role Center. This can be done by going to the search, typing Profile, finding the IT Manager, and selecting the Version Manager Administrator Role Center. Next is to make the profile default, like that, and OK. And the last thing is to close the Windows client and restart it again. That's it. The Version Manager Administrator profile distinguishes itself from the original because it has one extra activities page. This activities page will show the IT Manager any changes made to any objects in the monitored databases. You can see a total of changes that have been made today, this week, or this month. In order to get easy access to the Version Manager objects, it's possible to add the Version Manager object list page to the Role Center. This can be done by going to the Department menu, to Version Manager, right-click on Version Manager Objects, and add to Navigation pane, and yes please. This concludes the installation process of Version Manager. If you want to see more, please look at the video Setting up and using Version Manager. Thank you. By the way, don't forget to subscribe.